There we go.
Recording in progress.
That's a new thing from Zoom. Okay, so today's topic is all about 5 powerful tools to overcome pain. One of the guys that I follow and I really like his stuff is Sharma. And I thought to myself, when I listened this week to him, and he did this 5 powerful tools on, he did it way back in 2016, I think it was. And I listened to it today, and I thought to myself, you know what? I can't reshare his story the way that he shares his story. So, and how he overcame and the principles that he went through. So I'm going to play you the video. It is 16 minutes, but after that, then we will, so write down your questions, write down your insights and your inputs. And then what we'll do is we'll discuss it at the end, because there's some really, really powerful nuggets. So, Billy, while you're driving, please making no notes. So Shalane will make your notes for you, okay? So, awesome. So let's share screen and go for it, because it's really powerful. Share screen with sound. Share screen. Share screen. There we go.
Well, I've wanted to record this mastery session for a long time. It's called Powerful Tools to Overcome Pain. And what I want to do in this session is really walk you through the tools I've used in my own life to get through very difficult times. And perhaps sometime I'm going to write a book on this, because I think it would help a lot of people. I've got these tools that I've developed and that I've optimized and iterated during the times of my life that I was in darkness, during the times of my life that I was confused, during the times of my life where my heart hurt, during the times of my life that I've been in emotional pain. You might see me on stages or watch my videos across all the different social platforms, and you might fall into the seduction of thinking that my life is constantly beautiful and I'm always on fire with my craft and to serve. But the reality is, of course, I'm a human being. And the very nature of the human experience and our journey together is that we do have times on the summit of success. And I have been on that summit of success. And we have times walking through the valley of darkness. And I've been through those times in the darkness, and I have the scars to show them to you. But one thing I've learned is the man I am right now with you in this session is not a result so much as my times on the mountaintop. The man I am with you right now as I speak with as much authenticity as I know how to share is the result of my times in the valley of darkness. And so really, that's an insight, which is, if you're going through a divorce right now, if you're going through a financial problem right now, if you're going through an illness right now, if you are going through any form of crisis right now, I know you might be, you might not even want to get out of bed in the morning. It might be that bad. Please remember this. Crisis comes to serve the person who wants to use it as fuel. And you have a choice. You can be a victim and you can let it break you, or you can actually ask yourself, how can I use this time in darkness, which will not last, because you know this, dark times never last. The real question is, how can I leverage the pain? How can I leverage the darkness? How can I leverage the heartbreak so it grows me, so it makes me stronger, so it makes me wiser, so it allows me to tap into the greatest of virtues of humanity, so that you shift from being the person you once were before the crisis to a whole new level of wow. And so I want to share with you, I've gone through a divorce, and I've gone through some very painful times. And during those times, they were messy. And during those times, I got off my game at times. And during those times, I was confused. But more than anything else, during those times, I felt pain. And how did I get through those times? And how did I navigate the shadows? Well, here are the tools I want to share with you. Number 1, journaling has saved my life. For hundreds and hundreds of years, people in pain have pulled out a fresh, blank sheet of paper and poured their pain onto the written page. And now there's science coming out Science is actually saying when you journal about what's good in your life, even when you feel like nothing's good in your life, you actually release all these neurotransmitters which make you feel better. You've heard me say this before, perhaps. Gratitude is the antidote to pain. And so journaling, where you process through your pain. I mean, the worst thing you can do is what society suggests that you do. Escape, get busy, forget about it, lose yourself in work. Of course you have to work. Of course you have to show up. Your team needs you. Life needs you. Your family needs you. Life is for the living. I got it. But I don't believe that the answer to get through your pain is to escape in your pain. And too many people do that. And I've read the books that say to do that. You can't motivate yourself out of heartbreak. You've got to feel yourself through the heartbreak. I mean, I think it's that old Alanis, the old Alanis Morissette song. The quickest way out is in. And the wisest amongst us get that. But most people don't. They literally numb themselves to the pain, and then they wonder why 5 years later they have a heart attack. 10 years later, they end up with cancer. And so journaling allows you to process through the pain. There are gifts in pain. There is glory in pain. That's how you develop the bravery. That's how you develop the humanity. When I've gone through the most difficult times and I'm in pain, I use it as a servant. And it makes me humble. When the ego starts screaming, pain shuts down that ego pretty quickly. And you look at the greatest amongst us, they have endured the most suffering. Suffering's not a bad thing. Suffering is an awesome thing. The world just says to us, it puts a label on suffering, but you're going to get better if you use suffering to your advantage. So journaling is a tool where you actually get to process through the pain, write about your heartbreak, or write about your confusion, or write about your hurt, or write about your misunderstanding, write about the fact that you think it's never going to end, write about your blessings, write about your talents, write about what's good in your life, because even in the worst feeling life, you have daylight and you want to focus on that daylight. I probably will do another mastery session on why to journal and how I journal, but just right now, the bottom line is install the ritual of journaling every single day and just write what comes to you, and write as long as you need to. When I've gone through the dark valleys of my difficult times, seriously, I've written for hours. I've filled 300 pages. I think, I want to be always honest, I think it's 250 or 300 pages in the black journals I write in. I've written through those in weeks, in just a few weeks, because I'm trying to get the pain out. I'm trying to get the confusion out. I'm trying to get the growth out. Okay. Number 2. I call these the 5 ings, by the way. Let's call them the 5 ings of overcoming your pain. And the first ing is journaling. The second ing is talking. There's science coming out and research coming out now that says when you talk about your pain, you release the energy the pain had that was within you. So what do people do? Again, they stuff down their pain and then they wonder why they get ill. But it's because all of that emotional energy was stuffed down into the unconscious. And what you really want to do is, tool number 2, ing number 2, after journaling, is talking. Find a trusted advisor. Find a great friend. You know, in difficult times, you get to understand who your greatest friends truly are. When I've gone through difficult times, some of the people I thought were my greatest friends, not intentionally, but they were busy in their own lives when I most needed me. And so find that friend who you can talk to and really open yourself up and take down that social mask, because talking allows you to release that emotional pain and move through that emotional pain so you do not repress that emotional pain. And you know what? It's not only illness that repression and suppression causes. You block your creativity, you block your humanity, you contract your heart, you close your mind. When you take all of that pain and you pretend it's not there, because guess what? It is there. And one of the reasons there is so much anger out on the streets, one of the reasons there's so much toxicity in the workplace, is because of people who repress the pain and they think it's not there because they don't feel it, because they've escaped from it. but it's in their subconscious. The third ing of overcoming your pain and using it as a fuel and to your advantage. Isn't that a cool idea? Using your pain as a fuel and to your advantage? That, I think, could you imagine who we would become in business and as creative people and productive people and as leaders in the world if we had a mindset and a core belief that pain is a leverage point to world class? But anyway, that's another mastery session. The third ing is communing. When I am going through my most painful times, I run to the woods. I run to nature. My house is filled with flowers. I do 1 hour nature walks every day when I'm going through my most difficult times. Because sometimes when I'm going through the hardest times, I don't feel like doing the run. It's a soft time of life. It's a subtle time of life. I've learned to be gentle with myself, even though I am an A player. And so the nature allows me to commune with the beauty of life. And I walk and I breathe. What does breathing do to move you through the fear of frightening times? What does that do to your neurobiology? So communing with nature is a great tool when you're going through your most difficult times. It allows you to think. It allows you perspective. Well, that word, perspective. You know what? This won't matter 2 years from now. You know what? It's going to serve me. You know what? I have a million blessings and I'm focusing on the five difficult things right now. Perspective comes from communing with nature. And actually, here's what I really want to say to you. You are part of a larger cosmos, whether you know it or not. And communing with nature allows you not to see the bars of the prison cell, but the stars of the universe. And if you can connect with those every day, my dear friend, you will use your pain as an instrument for your greatest growth. The fourth ing of moving through your pain is moving. You don't have to move streets. I'm not saying move cities. That's actually going through difficult times. You might actually say, I'm going to leave New York and I'm going to go live in Tokyo, and that could be fine. But when I say moving, I'm really talking about the importance of exercise. Get off the couch, even when you don't feel like getting off the couch, and go for the walk. Go to the yoga class. Go for the run. Lots of research says when you find a peer group of people who are doing the thing you want to do, it's the greatest way to sustain the new habit of doing what you want to do. So get to the gym, schedule the classes. Maybe it's boxing, maybe it's Tai Chi, maybe it's yoga. But moving will shift your psychology, shift your neurobiology, shift your metabolic rate, release the dopamine that is the motivational neurotransmitter, so that even when you're feeling you are suffering and can't do world class, you start to develop the insight and the interior life that gets you moving back into the world. The final ing, tool number 5, to move through your valleys of darkness back into the starlight of world class. Because as you're going through a difficult time right now, I promise you, I assure you, the clouds will lift. Right? There is sunlight above the clouds. You're just looking at the clouds right now. And they will lift, and crisis has come to teach you the big lesson you're meant to learn to move to your next level and the next chapter of your greatest life. There is an invisible hand at play, whether you feel it or not. And maybe I am the servant of information to remind you in this moment right now, what you're experiencing doesn't feel good, but it is good. And there is a power within you that is navigating you through your life, that is allowing you the opportunity to learn from what you're experiencing. And it will serve you so well. And that brings me to my 5th ing in terms of a tool to go from where you now are to where you eventually, sooner or later, will be. And that's resting. Mm-hmm. Our world says, hey, you're a leader. Move, do, achieve. A lot of my videos, a lot of what I teach, a lot of my books, a lot of my courses, online or offline, are all about productivity, extreme performance, A player, being a titan, changing the world. I believe all of that. But you know what? There are seasons to life, are there not? There are times to plant, and there are times to let the fields of your farm lay fallow. And the wise farmer understands the time to plant, and the wise farmer understands the time to let those fields be fallow. And what if your time in the darkness of your wilderness, away from the world, was the season of your greatest growth? And what if there are seasons that are meant for you to rest and to read the great books and to write in the journal and to take those long walks and to rethink your thinking and rewire your life? And what if those times where you think, I am wasting time, and your emotional universe fills with guilt because you're not doing and your schedule is not full and you actually feel like you're wasting your life because you're not this epic producer? What if those times were actually a different form of productivity? What if those times were actually being productive in a different way, where you're actually producing not in the world, but producing within yourself, producing strength, producing new insights, producing new ideas, producing new capabilities, producing new energies, producing new emotions, shifting from fear to love? Because when you go through difficult times, what do you really do? If you feel your fear and your pain, you release it. It's out of your system. And you grow in love and bravery and strength. What does that do to your craft? What does that do to your power? What does that do to your bravery? What does that do to the light that you bring into the world? You become this incredible force that is undefeatable. And so the final and the fifth insight and tool, take the time to rest. Because just what if that resting is the key to world-class producing? When you get out of the season that you're now in and you get back into your next season of world class. I hope I've been of service to you. I hope this session has been powerful to you. And please remember that you are built to shine. Great things are coming your way. You are not average. The darkness will pass. World class is coming. And you are meant to fly. I'll talk to you soon. Hi, it's Robin.
That's nice, eh? Okay, let me just share. There we go, guys. Sorry, I didn't realize that I had not muted myself, so I hope you could hear. Could you hear, George? Oh, good. Okay. Right, who would like to add some insights and inputs from what you got out of that?
I'll start with my aha.
Okay.
Crisis comes to serve the person who wants to use it as a fuel.
Powerful.
Wow.
Powerful.
Crisis comes to serve the person who wants to use it as fuel. That's one of the most beautiful statements I've ever heard in my life.
I thought it was very powerful as well. Anybody else like to add?
Yeah, maybe I can just add, Michelle, on the first one, journaling. I'm not big into journaling, but I know Tessa writes a journal, but I don't write a journal, so I've never done it. So I've never tried it. So, but what I did do was doing goals. You know, write down your goals, and I think it borders on journaling because if you go into a crisis and you don't know what to do and you don't know how to solve it, go and determine a goal to get out of the crisis or whatever the case may be and put it on paper and then just repeat it, because by repeating it in writing, when you write it down, it goes into the mind and it goes into your subconscious.
Yeah.
And it helped me get through a few patches because you're concentrating on what you're writing every day, and you start thinking in that direction, and you look for opportunities because you are writing it down, and it manifests in your subconscious. So you're seeing the opportunity, and then you can act on it, and it pulls you out of a ditch or whatever the case may be. So I don't know, maybe it's not relevant yet, but I was thinking that it's relevant to journaling. Yeah. But because I don't do journaling, that's not what I do.
I think it's very relevant, George, because that's what gets our mind and ourselves out of you know, into that place where so you're journaling in essence, but you're just journaling the communing, the moving, the everything down into paper. You're slowing yourself down to identify what it is that I want to do. And I remember you doing that. And every day you would sit down and you would rewrite your goal out. You would write your affirmations out. You would write where you're at. So you measured yourself the whole way through. And I still think it's a fantastic way of journaling. It's just different to how Tessa would journal.
I'd like just to add that, you know, when you've gone through the discipline of deciding to take a pen and foolscap and just write and write and write and write, a nice follow-up is to look at your information and then just to take your page, divide into two, and to then in bullet points summarize all the positives and summarize all the negatives. And you'll often find once you're done with that, you realize that your mind was focusing on all the negatives, and therefore you go digging for some positives so you can balance the two, and that of in itself brings healing.
And that's where the gratitude comes in, the forcing you to find the things that make you grateful for what you're doing. So I loved his saying when he says you leverage to grow, you leverage your crisis to grow. And how many of us don't leverage the crisis to grow? We moan about it, we've grown about it, and the last thing we think of is how we're going to get through this. And I remember when Anthony got shot, how angry I was in 2007, and I was bitterly angry, and I couldn't even process anything. And something that we've always said, right from when we've been married, whenever we've hit a crisis, is okay, not why is this happening to us, but Lord, what must we learn from this? And we've tried to instill it in our children and in ourselves. But at that point in time, I didn't want to know what I must learn from this. Like, Lord, this is the last thing. I don't need this lesson right now, you know. I know you know what's good for me, but right now I'm telling you this is not good for me. And so those are my conversations with God, like, as though to say, well, like, hold on a second, you really got to get with the program. And but then when I had calmed down, and Anthony had written down while he was lying in hospital, and he actually wrote it on the paper that they pulled to dry their hands, that paper, because they didn't have foolscap paper for him, but he had a pen, and he was writing on this paper, and he wrote down, how's it, Fernando? And he wrote down all the things that the whole thing of like, what must we learn from this? And I think, how many foolscap pages did you end up, when we did transition it onto foolscap paper, you must have written...
It was more than 20 pages, but there were 18 miracles in it.
18 miracles happened in it, but from that. So it is important. It's only when he put it down on paper were we illuminated to saying, wow, you know, the good is happening through the whole thing. And he's actually got it on paper somewhere.
Yep.
So yeah, so journaling is not something I love doing. It's the last thing I think of doing, but I do find that it is important to write those few things down when you wanted to. So anybody else want to add anything? Billy, Shalane? There's his journal. You have to unmute yourself. There we go. Yeah, there's your journal.
Since last week.
Well done.
Yeah, so this is the last one of the last of the 5 points that I have to do and realize that I want to do. And thanks, Anthony.
Wow.
Billy, if you look at that journal that you're holding up, it's now a permanent resource, because every time you journal, when that book is full, the next one will look like that, and will be book number 1, started at this date, end at this date on the front cover or in the inside cover.
Oh.
But your mind will immediately go, this is my creative side of where I pour out my feelings, my innovation. So it's very important that you're journaling. If I look back at my life, I regret having 10 different journal books that all look different. And somehow it disturbed me. And therefore I started with the process of always using the same book, and it's really 1 off, 2 off with the dates. So,
and every time we move, I must move with this box of journals.
Yeah. Well, it's the only thing my grandkids have to read to know who I really was in my own handwriting.
Yeah. Yeah. So and the rest of them, the other four, is actually you use it in your life, but this is now nicely put
Yes.
underneath each other, in nice points underneath each other. So you can easily use this 5 points.
Awesome. And it's quite right. So when I was listening to him tongue in cheek, and I thought over the last few weeks that we've been doing the Mocking Mind, we've covered in different spaces all of these points. So we have covered journaling here, we've covered resting there, we've covered talking to someone, we've said do what it is, go into nature, whatever it might be, and where's the you time, prioritizing yourself. But he packaged it so nicely, as you say, Millie. He just packaged it nicely, and he communicated it so effortlessly, and you could see he was communicating from his heart. So it really touched me. So I thought I need to share this with us, because it's kind of like a summary of the last couple of weeks that we've been going on. And if somebody of his stature and nature and personhood who's got to where he is doing the simple things in life to keep him sane, we should be considering those things as well. Yes, Liz. Unmute.
I'm a girly girl, so my books are.
Oh wait, you muted yourself by accident. Unmuted. Something happened. There we go.
This is the one that I write all the notes in from the meeting.
Yeah.
And then this is the journaling one. So I'm a girly girl. I've got lots of pretty books all around.
Beautiful.
And I found one the other day. When was Bella? About 4 years ago, we went through a real dip. And I found it the other day and I read through it and I'm thinking, oh my word, how much have we grown from those days when I was desperate because I didn't know how to handle the situation. And I just wrote it. But I've put it away because I don't want my children to read that one day. Because it will just, it won't be good for them to read that, to see how we've grown. But what we've got now is something totally different. It's just amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
And you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing in terms of when you're writing a journal, if you have the propensity not to actually write on the entire page, it's because you're still holding yourself back. People who hold themselves back will only journal in the first half or first 3/4 of a page and not complete the entire page. That means that you have not released your innovative side 100% yet, which means you're still holding back. But as you get to write on the entire page, you've given yourself the right to flow through to the next level.
And I also enjoy using color and being creative while I'm doing that, because thinking makes me doodle and then go on and just write again exactly how I feel afterwards. So it's good for me. It's good for me.
Awesome. And previously I've also heard many years ago when we were training, doing the boundaries course, and we're talking about journaling in those days, which is like 1996. And one of the facilitators actually said that when she journals, she journals what she's going through. And then she spends some time with the Lord and she asks, okay, now what must I do? And then even if she hasn't finished the page, not because she doesn't want to finish the page, she asks, and she physically turns the page and writes on the other side what she's going to act. So she's turned her page on the negative and starts to write the positive after spending some reflection time. And I thought for me, that was a really powerful picture of, here I can write the negative and say, okay, now Lord, what do you want from me? How do you want me to handle this? And then instead of continuing, physically turn the page and say, right, now it's a fresh new page, fresh start. This is my resolution. And it was, for her, it was that physical, I've turned the page, I'm not going to open it again, I'm moving forward. Because if you think about how we read a book, we don't read the book and then go back to those pages. We just keep reading through. So that was something she physically did. It stayed with me till now. It's still staying with me. Yeah, awesome. Okay, anybody else want to add? Nothing? Any other amazing statements?
She have mouth moving, which is not
Let me
good.
just unmute Shalane. There we go.
The next point they're talking, and some of these points, when you think about it, is actually contradicting what the social, what the suppression, they want you to suppress your emotions. You have to have this mask on, and you have to have this little perfect life, and nothing must go wrong. And when you think about these things, it is actually contradicting that. To talk, to tell I've got a problem, but it's also finding somebody that really listens to your problem. So you need in Afrikaans we say a klankbord. So you need a soundboard that is, that is also not just want your favor. They really need to tell you're wrong.
Yes.
So yeah, even with the exercising and the moving, all those things is also good for you, but it's not always what one to do. When you're in a problem, you always like want to go sit in a little hookie and don't want to do anything. Yeah.
Sit in my bed with my Yorkies and my chocolate and my wine and close the doors and nobody can talk to me.
Yeah. Yes.
You're so right. That also for me was a highlight, Shalane. And also he said trusted advisor. So the person who you do want to select to speak to has to be someone whom you can trust your story with, because today you trust your story with someone and they go tell the whole world about it. So it is all about finding that person that's really sincerely cares enough about you to listen to your story, and there's no need for them to repeat it to anyone else. And that's the hard thing to find nowadays, is that trusted advisor that you can actually speak to and know that they're not going to go and say, oh, you know what so-and-so just said, told me, that for me is my hardest, because I don't trust people easily. I'll be honest. I don't trust people easily. So for me, that's been because we've had prayer warriors that when we were in ministry that said they were praying for us and all the rest of it. Meanwhile, they were literally stabbing us in the back. And it was just so, not, in fact, I have a painting hanging in my house that reminds me not to trust people, which is not good. Just really not good. Okay, so when I see it, I think, I know what those people did to me. So I don't let people go. So I basically made myself, what did they call this? When you, not a temple, you'll know. Moses had to go and put some stones in a pile. An altar. There we go. That's an altar. Thanks, Shalane, an altar. So it's actually become an altar of remembrance of how nasty people can actually be.
But the same thing for me has become an altar of God's grace and giving it back to me after the painting came back to me. Wow.
No, it came back to teach me a lesson.
Robert Sharma spoke about perspective. Check in the different perspectives.
On the same painting.
Same painting versus the altar of remembrance. For me, is the altar of grace.
I wonder if there's not a painting like that in our house.
I think there's an item in everybody's houses with something like that. For somebody, it's a knife in the kitchen. Or a hammer.
No, Shalane has quickly muted me. So yeah.
I just quickly want to add here, in finding and talking, once you've found a friend that you can entrust, here's the truth: if you don't have scheduled time on a regular basis, a regular interval, your plan of restoration is not going to work.
Yeah.
You have, even if it's once a month, even if it's once a term, but you need to have a set date time in your diary. Otherwise, it will never pan out to become a reality.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. And I'm always saying, when Ant knows, he just knows when I'm totally stressed out. He just says, this Sunday we're getting in the car, we're driving to Pilanesberg. I said, but I've seen the lines in Pilanesberg. He says, get in the car, we're driving to Pilanesberg. And it's my best day ever. It's just to drive through, and I can see the same bokkie, and he can go around in a circle for me, and I can see the same bokkie. And I'm so excited when I see the bokkie, because it's just, for me, it's out in the wilderness. It's out there. It's free. That's my communing. So
communing, which is next point. Yeah.
Now, I don't use it as a reflection time. I just use it as a self-fulfilling closeness to God for me. That's my space. So that's my space. So moving exercise, I think it is good to I mean, as much as when you are depressed or when you're down or when you're going through pain, the last thing you feel like doing is actually any form of exercise or anything. So it is nice to have an accountability partner. How's it, Marina? Good to have you with us. See if we can meet Fernand Isabel again. It's good to have you with us.
Hi.
Awesome.
Sorry, I'm very
Just give the 5 points.
No problem whatsoever. We watched a short video of Robert Sharma. So when you watch the recording, you'll enjoy it. And basically, he said the 5 powerful tools to overcome pain. And the first one was journaling. The second one was talking to somebody who you can trust. Okay. He didn't add that part. I did. But talking. The third one is communing with nature. And the fourth one was moving, what types of exercises, one could do, or just to take a walk or whatever it might be. And then the fifth one was resting and taking the time to rest and understand that the cloud will lift. And what are you doing to basically preserve yourself through the process, so that when you come out the process, you're a better person. So that's what we're chatting to now about, all the different entities. And so I agree with no problem, Fernando. We're all having issues with internet. Mine is very slow tonight. And then we've spoken about resting. We've spoken about taking time out for yourself, because if you don't, God is going to bring something along your way to force you to rest if you don't rest. Okay. And especially if you're A-type personality, very choleric, very strong personality, he will literally shoot you or have you shot so that you end up lying in bed, or pull a disc or a muscle or something like that forces you to just stop running around. He will do that. George Stent, to force you to slow down. And all of us, I think we can have somewhere that we can look at that. Anybody else want to add their insights that they got out of it, or again, just a refresher in their minds what they got?
With the resting, Dr. Michelle, he said it's a different kind of productivity.
Yeah.
And that's also very nice to me. And then he said it shifts fear to love, which is also true. To rest, you actually think. You makes you think.
And it's a beautiful way of putting it when he, like he said, the reason why we don't rest is because we think we are lack of productivity. And then now he goes and says, no, it's a different kind of productivity. And it's a productivity we actually all need, so that we can have that, as he said, when you come out of it, you could have a world-class idea or a world-class thing. And that's all the reflection time, on all the things that you've read. So I also thought that was pretty cool. A different form of productivity, as opposed to, I'm resting, I'm doing nothing, because our bodies need to rest. Going back to, how did God create the world? 6 days he worked, and the 7th day he rested. I mean, if it's good enough for God, it could be good enough for us. Anybody else want to add? Want to say something more? Okay.
I also just want to add.
Yes, yes, Sonia.
I agree with Doc Ann. My aha moment was also to serve the people who wants to use it as fuel. It also comes back to God won't put something on your path if he knows you won't be able to get through it.
True.
And you will be able to be a stronger person coming at the end of it. And okay, me not being really talkative, I keep everything inside. That's my main problem. But instead of journaling, I don't like to journal.
No, me neither.
I really don't like. I don't like to study. But coming to those kind of things, I would rather be creative and create something.
Ah, that's nice.
Yes. I would rather go and do something, create something that will eventually make me feel better.
Yes.
But I'm not a person that can sit down and write for 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. I can't do that. I can't concentrate that long in just writing. That's why I also say I like to be creative. And that's my way of getting whatever bothers me inside. That's my way of, that's it.
Your adults coloring in books are the best journaling ever.
That and diamond dotting.
Yes.
But that's just my how I get my feelings out. It's being creative. I'm not someone that really journals. I
also use my adult coloring in book. So depending on the colors that I use, that shows you my frame of mind. So like
exactly,
my tattoo on that I've got is an owl, and I believe owl is wisdom. But this time it was like, I'm a female, but I've got this dark patches inside me. And how am I going to? So when I was doing it, all the darkness is mixed with the pink as I was going through it, and saying, how do I get that dark to be more pink? And do I want that dark spot to be more pink? And so that's my journaling. And so every time when you look at my pictures and you see the difference in
Pinky the Brain.
Pinky the Brain. Like, really? What does he know about Pinky the Brain? Yeah, so, and this is like one of those good, happy, fun days. And so for me, I agree. And this is actually a bountiful blessings one. So there's a scripture verse to every single one of these. So for me, that's my journaling. I agree with you. I like the creative side to it. Yes. Last one. I forgot about that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's true. And when it comes to talking as well, Doc M, I fully agree with you. I don't trust people very easily. I think that's why I'm not really, look, I've got very, very good friends that I really trust with my life, but I'm not a talkative person because it always came back and stabbed me in the back. That's why I don't talk to people.
I'm exactly the same.
Even if with my close friends, even if I trust them with my life, I don't talk about my problems. That's it. I'll work it through by myself.
I'm so much the same, and yet we're asked to talk. Even the word says share it with your brother, but it's to find the trusted person. So fortunately in my life now, I've found a trusted person that I can talk to and vent to and cry with and laugh with and all the rest of it. But right up until Tess and I became friends, I had no one to talk to. I didn't talk to anybody because, well, I did. And then, as you say, they stab you in the back.
Am I nobody?
You're nobody. You're my husband.
Can't even hit a hammer, man.
Yes, exactly. I cannot speak to someone who can't even hit a hammer. Like, really, seriously. And we built to shine. That was something that I wrote down. We built to shine. We said that at the end. I thought, how beautiful that is. We built to shine. And how do we become that beacon of light to someone? And the thing that reminded me again with that was all of us, we sometimes we're trying to be too big to shine. Like we want to make big impacts on people. But it goes back to because I've maybe been able to shine a little bit in this little section, and Anthony's like that big in his section. It doesn't mean that my shining is not shining. It means that I'm going to come across, or someone's going to come across my path, that just that little bit of growth that I've got is probably that distance to them, and therefore you shine for that person, if that makes any sense. But it doesn't. We don't have to be these big beacons of light, and we're here to shine in little spaces. So if you have a triumph and your face shows the triumph and you feel that you've got the triumph, when you go out and meet someone, even if it's a little thing, I remember the very first time that this person was murdered in front of us, and my adrenaline gland opened up, and so I couldn't do anything slowly. You can ask Ant. I would get out the car, I would run to the shop, I'd run to the kitchen, I'd run to the bathroom, because my adrenaline gland was pumping so much. And for never, not really, other than if you get a fright, I was always in that flight mode continuously, and then they had to put me obviously on something to slow it me down and slow the adrenaline gland to close it again. But even at that point in time, I was running everywhere. It was like, how do I slow down? And I didn't know how to slow down. So, but then just somebody who comes across my path who's actually just a little is slower, and I know they've been through problems, gave me hope that I could heal from what I was going through. So we've always got to remember that there's people that come across our path to enable us to shine, or whatever it might be in different things. But things happen to us, and it could be medical, it could be whatever it might be.
I'm quite inspired tonight, so I'd like just to add a few pointers that I recommend that we take to us into the week. Okay, no time to discuss it, but for you to take it into the week. First point is, score yourself in these 5 out of 10, but ultimately see which is your highest. So then you know which is your true, sort of your portal, it's your point of true connection to pain. All right.
Processing pain.
Processing pain. And once you score it all out of 10, you'll see that your highest one is also that portal is the way to your solution. That's the first one. The second one is, please write down the question, what must I learn? Because when you can ask the question, what must I learn? You take this and you actually work through it in a different way.
Yeah.
The third point is, there are seasons for all of us. Just write down the word seasons. And I just want to highlight, some people are in spring, some are in summer, some are in autumn, some are in winter. But here's the truth. If you look at the seasons, doesn't matter where you are, winter will go to spring. Spring will go to summer. Summer will go to autumn. So it all depends on what is your point of departure. So what you want to do is to look at the last 3 years of your life and determine what were the seasons that were dominating in that year. And right now, what season are you in and how will the season pan out? And the question is, can one ever jump a season? Answer is no.
No.
You might go through the next season in a shortened period, but you can never
jump a season.
So you want to actually get yourself and say, right, in which season am I? And address yourself. And the last thing is, he spoke about the thing is an ING.
ING.
And I just made a little acronym. For me, it's an innovative engineering of gratitude.
Nice.
So I made it I small e NG. So ING with a small e in between. And I just said to me, it's an innovative engineering of gratitude. Because here's the truth. As you work through your pain and you get to beat it, somehow your gratitude grows in terms of where you are. And obviously I took REST for me as an acronym, and I made an acronym for myself. I'm not going to share it with you because under R I've got 3 things, under E I've got 3 things, S I've got 3 things, and T I've got 3 things. And I want to encourage you this week to make an acronym for REST. And next week when we meet, may I ask permission, because of your training, that you each share
your
acronym for REST, because that will already bring us to a new point of having innovatively forced growth upon ourselves. If that is okay with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my takeaway.
Awesome. Thank you for the wrap up. Appreciate it. Awesome, guys. So yes, spend some time, and when you study this, if you're battling to find out what season you're in, then literally go and Google the season. So let's say, for example, Google what is autumn, and look at what autumn is. Autumn is the stripping down of trees. Autumn is the losing of branches. Autumn is starting to bring the cold front in. So So when you're starting to, let's say, for example, lose friends, or you know, finding that you've lost your house or whatever it is, you must just know you're in autumn season, and how beautiful is autumn. So then look at the beauty of autumn, and you look at beauty of the colors and all the rest of it. And then you start seeing the beauty in your season that you're in. And then just know there's hope to move into the next season. So just, if you're not sure how you're going to process what season you're in, God says, look at my creation and learn from it. Go and learn from the seasons, and then write down how you parallel your life in the seasons. Awesome.
Well, what did we learn? For me, crisis, use it as fuel.
Yeah, crisis uses as a fuel, and not something to beat you down. Also,
next, one thing for every person. Quick. Come on, Vali, shoot.
Okay, so unmute.
Unmute. What did you learn? One thing. Sound.
What? There we go.
I've learned to use this to help other people again, because it's so easy, quick.
Great. Shalane, what did you learn?
Use pain as a fuel to your advantage.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, Fernando.
Well, I've got to watch the video tomorrow when it comes through.
Cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was a bit late battling with the systems.
Perfect.
But yeah.
That's good enough. Leonie.
Mine would also be the crisis comes to serve the person as fuel to your advantage. So the to your advantage was quite strong for me as well. And also you can be a world changer in rest.
Nice.
Nice.
Love it.
Sonia.
Mine is also crisis, use it as fuel, and everyone is built to shine.
Perfect. Marina, did you catch a bit to say what did you learn in the small piece?
Yeah, the crisis is in your life is there for a reason, and that makes you grow, and you can use that to your advantage.
Awesome.
Nice. Mr. Hawks.
Yeah, for me, I've got to learn to rest, because I just work all the time. So yeah, that's
awesome.
What I've got to do.
Brilliant. Thank you. George and Tessa.
George first, Tessa second first. Yeah, George.
Oh, she's lying on the bed and looking at it and doing it there. I'm sitting.
She's resting.
She's resting. Well done, Tess.
Resting. Yeah, she's resting. No, well, what Anthony said they're doing about the score, and I've already given myself on talking, I've given myself a 0, because that's not something I do. I don't talk about my personal problems to other people.
Yeah.
I just don't do it. You know, you just crop it up, and that's maybe something I have to work on. So it's something that I took out what we talked about tonight. So
awesome.
It's just not something I do. So yeah.
Well done, buddy.
Thanks, Lord.
Well done. Tess, do you want to talk?
You don't have to show us. You can just talk. Otherwise, give us a... Yes, there we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, you are meant to fly. You are not average.
I love that. I thought that was beautiful.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Dagim, what did you learn?
So for me, it was to always remember that in life, there are the summits of success. There's the valley of the darkness, but your art is to learn how to navigate through the shadows.
George, I think we should find our guitar music from the shadows tonight. Just get a bit of a theme song going from the shadows. Awesome. Just on behalf of everybody, I was first. Guys, on behalf of everybody, I just want to thank Michelle. I love these sessions. In fact, I get so inspired. I want to start co-teaching. I know, hold back, buddy.
No, we won't know. We're blessed to have you co-teach with us.
I just love it.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
it really, it's a privilege to be here. So thank you, everybody. It's great to connect with you, commune with you, because communing is one of my ings. Okay.
God bless you all. Mwah. Love you guys. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
God bless. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good night. Keep well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.